officials passed an ordinance that banned selling and possessing the plant. And that's why it's so important today that a representative from El Paso, Joe Moody, is working to change that law. These El Paso officials and local representation from Customs and Agriculture worked with the federal government to combat and create legislation to prevent this killer weed. By 1915, cannabis was restricted to medical use only at the federal level, and marijuana was considered a real problem in local border towns, and it was attracting statewide interest. By 1923, Texas had tightened up the law to include possession with intent to sell. This created a black market, and you will note that all of our laws are spelled marijuana with an H. It is because of the racist undertones of the laws based on the Latin pronunciation, marijuana. They didn't know how to spell it, they threw an H in there. That's how uneducated these laws are. By 1931, Texas extended marijuana prohibition to include just simple possession. And by 1937, federal marijuana prohibition was being enforced across our country. But starting in the 1970s, we saw a wave of decriminalization across the states, and Texas included themselves in this. In 1971, the penalty for a first-time possession offense was no less than 2 years in jail, and a judge could choose to impose a life sentence. A second possession offense carried a mandatory minimum of 10 years, with the possibility of life in jail. Texas NORML was founded during the 1973 legislative session, and during that session, a bill passed that gives us our current laws today. Simple possession of 2 ounces or less has a maximum penalty of 180 days in jail and a $2,000 fine with a permanent criminal history. Possession of a concentrate, even 1 drop, is an automatic first-degree state jail felony. In 1973, that was progress. Today, that is no progress. By 1990, states across the country were starting to reintroduce cannabis for medical use. In 1997, Texas still had the ability to change drug law at the local level, and they were going to do just that. The local officials in San Marcos were creating an initiative to have direct police that would direct police officials to use their best judgment when arresting or choosing to arrest or not patients that were using medical marijuana. There was a lot of support for this initiative, and it was thought that it would pass. However, a few people took it on themselves to do defiance acts of civil disobedience and smoke a joint in front of police at a state building. That resulted not only in their arrest, but the eyes of the Capitol turning to watch San Marcos. Because of that, the initiative failed. Because of that, the state legislature decided to make sure that no locality would ever rise up against them again. QHB 2213. It made it so that all drugs could only be changed at the state legislature. That brings us to today. Because we were affected by the actions of a few in 1997, our freedoms of many were affected. We ask today that there be no civil disobedience at this rally. We are too close to success. However, there will be an after party, and we will let you know the location at the end of this rally. Texas has no ballot initiative at the state level. This means that we are fully reliant at our employees' discretion of the people that work in this building. What do we want? And when do we want it? These senators and representatives meet every 2 years for 140 days if there is no special session. And this is an intense process. This year there were over 7,000 bills that were filed in the 2015 legislature. Any bill that does not pass out of committee by Monday will die there. One of these bills that is currently stuck in committee is HB 3785, authored by Representative Marisa Marquez. which would create a whole plant, comprehensive medical cannabis program in Texas. PTSD is one of the 10 qualifying conditions. Texas is home to 1.6 million veterans. Many of these veterans suffer from PTSD. One of those veterans is Major David Bass. Many of you may know Major Bass. He retired from the U.S. Army in 2006 with 21 years of active military service. He was a communications officer in the Signal Corps. He's a veteran of Desert Storm, Operation Iraqi Freedom. He commanded the 304th Maintenance Company at Logistics Base Echo and at the King Khalid military city in Saudi Arabia during Desert Storm. He was a communications officer of the 1st Cavalry Division, Support Command at Camp Taji, Iraq, during Operation Iraqi Freedom II in 2004 and 2005. He also participated in Troops to Teachers program and is currently a teacher of American literature and creative writing at Ellison High School in Killeen. He also participated in Texas Monthly Talks. Can marijuana help veterans with PTSD? David has been with Texas NORML since 2013, and we are proud to have him as the Director of Veterans Outreach for Texas NORML. Now, Major David Bass will discuss veteran roles in cannabis legalization here in Texas. David.